is the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. To learn more about Next Level Loan Officers, go to becomnl.com.
Hey, this is Fraser with Lead Pops and Next Level, and I'm proud to present this episode of the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. Lead Pops is the industry's only future-proof growth solution. You can check us out at leadpops.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Next Level Loan Officers podcast, the number one podcast for loan officers by loan officers anywhere in this great land. My co-host today is Next Level founder, co-founder, and my host, Shane Kidwell. Shane, how are you?
I'm Sean's host. I'll take that to the bank. That's going to be cemented in time. I'm great, man. You know, it's sunny here on the Northwest coast. And I know Kristi's on the West Coast as well, but it's always sunny down there. It's rarely sunny here. We got a good day. So I'm blessed to be here. I'm excited to hear Kristi's story.
Well, Shane, not only did I say it, but it's recorded and will now be on the internet and YouTube. So it'll be a fact forever.
Fact for life. Yep.
Yes.
That's not fake news. That's real news, Sean.
Real news. So we have the home loan mom, Kristi Norton, joining us today. Kristi is a very seasoned loan officer, has an amazing brand. She's an amazing woman. And Kristi, we're really excited for you to join us today. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am fine. And Shane, we have flip-flopped because it's rainy here today.
Wow.
In San Diego. We have had record rain, as has everybody in California. And yesterday was beautiful and sunny, and today and tomorrow is supposed to rain. So enjoy the sun. We sent it to you.
It doesn't stay green down there without a little bit of precipitation. So I have a sweet spot in my heart for San Diego. My dad grew up down in Ocean Beach. Nice. And it's a cool, fun area, which we go to often. So listen, for the audience now, we've done over 200 episodes, and the audience has obviously evolved and changed as the market has. But it's always really important to frame the conversation. Tell us a little bit about your story. And I always say the back of your baseball card, like, how did you get here today? Where did you come from? A little bit more about your business.
Okay, I have a very long story, so I will keep it concise. But it's something that is a little bit interesting about me is that when I started out of college, I wound up working for a company in Los Angeles where I grew up called Hughes Aircraft Company. It was a defense company. It was huge in LA. And I worked for a division, a little tiny department called the New Venture Organization that developed new business ideas. And one of the ideas that spun out from it that I went to as a startup was DirecTV. So I worked at DirecTV in the beginning, and I was employee number 34. So that's kind of a fun little fact when they were like, nobody knew what it was. So that's fun. Actually, I then left DirecTV to be a stay-at-home mom. My husband and I have been married for coming up on 32 years. Yes, I was 2. When we were married.
Yeah, that's what we were going to say.
So we were expecting our first daughter. My husband got transferred to Washington, D.C. So we moved when I was expecting our oldest, and I was able to stay home. And then we thought we'd be there 5 years. We wound up being there for 6 months and moved to San Diego, where my parents had, in the meantime, migrated from LA to San Diego. So we wound up moving a mile away from them. So I was able to stay home with both of my girls. My second one was a native San Diegan. I was able to stay home with them for 14 years. Then went back into the consumer electronics industry, and entertainment, which was interesting. But over time, I met this fantastic woman who is now my broker. Her name is Robin Gilmore with America's Local Lender. We're a boutique brokerage in San Diego based in La Jolla. And I met her through, long story, I won't get into it, and I was just so impressed with her and loved her energy and just loved talking to her about her business. And when I had a COVID-related layoff, I decided that I was going to do that too. And I didn't even tell her. I went and I took all the classes. I signed up for the exam. I actually went with another broker who I knew who said, "Hey, you got laid off, come work with me." And I said, "Okay." And then after I got my license, I told my friend Robin, I said, hey, guess what? I'm in mortgage too. And she was so happy and supportive. And then almost a year ago, we were having coffee because we stayed in touch. And she said, hey, would you like to come work for us and help us really grow our brokerage? And I said, yes, absolutely. Because she is one of the most wonderful people. And her husband, Pat, used to work for Fannie Mae, and they know everything about mortgage front and back. And they are wonderful people. And I love working for them. So that is my journey in a nutshell. But the mom part was that 14 years was probably the most important part of my business, even
Amen.
though nobody would think that.
I also don't want to gloss over, as an aviation nerd, I believe you said you worked for Hughes Aviation. Is this the Howard Hughes Aviation?
Yes, Hughes Aircraft Company was founded by Howard Hughes. It sure was, way back in the day. And in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, Hughes Aircraft was an absolutely enormous defense contractor in LA. Made satellites. They made the DirecTV satellites.
Wow.
Yeah, what a unique story. And it's so funny because I don't know if I've ever had anyone on that said, hey, I grew up wanting to be a mortgage advisor and went to college for mortgage. Then I went, and worked as a new LO in a training program that took 2 years. And after getting my MBA in mortgage, I then got my PhD in like, that's just not how this industry works. Those who have a very well-rounded background and experience in life make the best LOs. And being a mom, you have to juggle multiple things. You have to excel at everything because you only get one opportunity at it. And you have to deal with people who are out of touch, AKA your husband coming home after a long day. So you've had to deal with a lot. And I love that your story of kind of navigating the mortgage experience. And I think that's, and we talked before the call, and obviously, as this podcast drops, I think there's very few people on this who would say, man, I'm having my best month ever, my best year ever. Like, I am thriving in all facets of mortgage, right? Like, that's just not the industry that we're in. It's like oil and gas. At some level, you are beholden to the market. Like, you can control your environment to a point, but if rates go to 12% and they no longer allow FICOs under 740, you are going to suffer, right? And you're not immune to that. Although, I've always known you to be super positive. Being that you're a West Coaster, you have many reasons to be positive. It's gorgeous weather. We live in a great part of the country. But like, talk about that mindset piece a little bit from somebody who's like an everyday originator, boots on the ground, on the street, with a lot of experience in life. How do you navigate waking up every day knowing that today, this month, this year is probably not going to be your best year in the business from a numbers perspective?
That's so true. And, I think for me, there are a couple of things that have helped me. I have always been a very positive person. Overall, we all have our days, but in general, I'm a pretty positive person. So that's helped. And really going back to the mom thing, because every day is a new day. Every day is different. And you wake up today, am I going to screw up today? Am I going to do a great job? My youngest daughter was really ill for a while when she was young. And I think she spent a lot of time at Children's Hospital here in San Diego. And that was really pivotal time for our family, for her, for me as a mom. And I really just had to embrace the idea of, okay, let's get through today. And today might seem like a really bad day, but tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is another opportunity to make sure that we do things right, that we, nail this. And it's a long haul. And sometimes, especially in something like that, you get stuck in the moment and start to get down. But I just have to, shake my head, clear my thoughts, and realize that, okay, no matter how bad today seems, no matter how bad yesterday was, we just have to keep going because there are no alternatives. And things do get better. As my parents used to tell me when I was growing up that I didn't get then, but I do now. It's always darkest before the dawn. And right now the market seems, a little crazy and it's a little frustrating, but we are seeing a lot more movement in San Diego. I had some clients finally got into contract last week, but the house before that, they were competing with 17 other offers. So we're seeing activity. So I just really focus on that. Like, I'm seeing that there are changes. I know things are not going to be like they were during COVID, during the troubles, as we call them around here. But I know that I need to make my bread and butter with the people who are always going to need to move, people who are getting married, getting divorced, having a baby, moving. And I focus on building the relationships with the people I know in my sphere of influence, as well as the realtors who are going to, know those people who need to move. So it sounds trite, but I just have to keep positive, because that's the only way to move forward, is just that one foot in front of the other.
Kristi, you're so right, because the only thing that we really can control is what is between our ears. And so the things that happen to our family, the things that happen in the market, everybody is dealing with those things. And, as I talk to loan officers, and first of all, for everybody listening right now, in this market, the lack of volume, I take 100% responsibility. It's all my fault. So I've been doing this for 21 years. And for the last 15 of these 21 years, I have prayed for interest rates to go up consecutively for greater than 10 months, because I wanted to get a whole swath of our industry out of the market. Now, the problem is I said for at least 10 months. I didn't put a definite cap on that for it to be a little bit less time. So it's not your fault, guys. It's not the market's fault. You can
It's
blame
Sean
me
Zalmanoff's
for
fault.
everything that's going on right now. But, like the bottom line, like when I wake up every day, I need 10 loans this month. I don't know any loan officer listening to this right now. If you do 10 loans in a month, that you're not living a pretty amazing life. And no matter what the market is, like as I wake up every day, it's like, how can I get 10 loans next month? And that's the focus, and that's where we're all at. And I can see that in your attitude. One of the things that I really notice from people like you who have had careers other places, I became a professional job interviewer after college, and my first job was in the mortgage industry. And it took me a lot of years of beating my head against the wall, because one of the things that's really terrible about our industry, if you don't come in from somewhere else, is a lack of training. Shane got the discipline from the fire department. You got discipline from working in an aviation company. I didn't have any of that. So it was just a lot of stumbling along the way. So I'm really curious what things that you brought over from your previous career that have helped you have a lot more success, because I really notice that people who have that track record from other industries, they hit the ground running at a different pace than those of us who don't.
Well, I was very fortunate that when I went back to work, when my daughters were older, that I was able to kind of step back in to the sales side of the consumer electronics industry. And so I was able to really continue to hone those sales skills. And I, from there, kind of morphed into marketing. I ran e-commerce for an apparel company. I ran a department of, SEO practitioners at a digital agency. I've done a lot of different things, and all of those things have really informed how I run my business. Obviously being in sales helps, getting out there, making cold calls, meeting people. I'm a big networker. That's what I do, is I get out there, I get face to face, I go to realtor caravans. Those are really important things to me. I believe in that type of in-person selling. And, having run a department with people, I learned people skills from the professional side, like how to calm people down, how to get people to focus on what's important, not let their emotions run away with them. But the most important thing was the aspect that I learned from being a mom, because I was room mom. I taught art. I was the head of fundraising at their school, at their soccer club, at the Children's Hospital Auxiliary. I was volunteer of the year in our community one year. I mean, I did a lot that was unpaid, but it was all great training for being in mortgage. And what I think it all boils down to is relationship building and those skills to not be afraid to get out there and talk to people. And that comes from the selling, and not being afraid to kind of smooth the road for my clients the way I did for my girls when they were growing. And I think those things combined, the professional experience and the mom experience, have really married into a great skill set for me in this industry.
Kristi, if you were going to say to a new LO, networking and relationship building are 1A and 1B, right? What would be, and we're getting ready to launch performance coaching. And one of the things we're going to be doing is every month sending out basically a white paper of do's and don'ts, right? Themes for the month. And I think networking and relationship building is key. But a lot of people, whether through their own mindset or the markets, put their head in the sand and forgot how to originate. They forgot what it meant, or the market has changed and they didn't change with it. And so their definition of being an originator is still the 1003 taker, when the reality is that that's not really a key skill anymore of being a top producing originator, right? What would you say if you had to like really focus in on just a couple of actions that matter, networking and relationship building? And this was somebody who either is brand new to the business or mentally needs to be new to the business and hit reset. Where would you start? Like, what would be the things? Like if you dropped me in San Diego and you put me at your company, I'm like, I'm a new originator and I'm just going to do whatever you tell me for the next 6 to 12 months. Where would you start?
I would start with Next Level. Honestly, that has been so huge for me because I had great guidance on how to originate, but the networking part, I really had to figure out on my own. And Next Level helped me kind of tap into what I had done in the past and how to make it work. And so what I would say is figuring out those actions that matter and making one of those actions that matter your networking. And the networking component being so important, I would say to someone, find where the realtors are. So I know in California, I don't know if everywhere they do this, but they do broker caravans every week. They're regional, and I go to 6 every week. In fact, I'll be going to one when we get off here. And I go and that's where I meet realtors. And yeah, there are a lot of other affiliates. There are sometimes half of the room are lenders. But I've created great relationships, not only with the realtors and the other affiliates, title, escrow, moving companies, stagers, but I have great rapport with the other lenders too. In fact, I just got a referral from one of the direct lenders the other day, something that he can't do that I can as a broker or brokerage. I'm a LO, not a broker, but I work for a broker. And so that's so important. And I know a lot of people, realtors I know, for example, I say, hey, do you go to, the Scripps Ranch caravan? And they'll say, oh, no, I don't need to go to caravans. I know a lot of realtors, but I see deals getting done. We've got realtors getting up there, pitching their properties or saying coming soon. And I can listen for my clients too. I've had clients who have something in mind, they haven't been able to find it, and I hear it coming soon at a caravan, and I'm able to reach out to the client and tell them, hey, let's work with your realtor. I've got this one coming that I know about. So to me, it's getting out there. It's finding where they are. It's joining organizations that are good networking organizations like BNI, Provisors, things like that, local ones. There's a local one here in San Diego called 6 Degrees Networking. That's a really great one. And I'm a member of that. And it's finding where the realtors are and then finding where everybody else is too, because at some point everybody needs to buy or sell or refi, right? And that's why I don't limit myself to just the realtor events. I go to a lot of other networking organizations. In addition to those caravans, I'm a member of 2 women's groups and 3 networking organizations.
Wow.
So I do a lot of networking.
Did you say you do 6 caravans a week?
I do. Yes.
I love that because, Sean, we talked on the lowdown on Monday.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
And Sean, go ahead and just walk the audience through what they missed on the lowdown, because it directly ties into what Kristi's doing, only she's doing it like tenfold what I asked everyone to commit to doing.
So the lowdown, for those of you who don't know, we have a live show every Wednesday inside of our Next Level community. And, Monday and Wednesday. Well, we have a live show 5 days a week, but on Monday we do the lowdown. Today's Wednesday. The days blend together. But the number one thing that separates loan officers right now in this market from those of us who are going to be here in 6 and 12 months and those who aren't is what Kristi is doing. I just came in this morning from a coffee appointment with a realtor. Like I am just like you all. And in fact, I'm a lot greener than most of you. I stepped down, as you guys know, from a regional position last October, where I hadn't originated in 9 years. And as of October 4th of last year, I started originating again. So I've been doing all of these things. And Kristi out meeting these agents. Like, I had 2 agents last week while we were on spring break that reached out asking if I was available to take new agents and new clients because their lender just left the industry. And if you are not out doing these activities, the number one thing that is going to separate everybody from those who have to those who don't, Kristi talked about it. Like it was really good a few years ago. Guys, we don't ever want it to be that good again. We don't ever want it to be that easy. We don't want the chain of events that happened to drive rates that down to where they did. And frankly, we can see what happens on the other side of it. We need normal markets. We don't need these crazy low interest rate, pandemic driven markets that the Federal Reserve doesn't actually know the unintended consequences of what they're doing. But doing these activities, like if you're not out talking to agents every single day, if you're not having 3, 4, 5 conversations with a realtor every single day, then you can't blame your company. You can't blame the market. The only thing you can do is pull up your phone right now, look at that in selfie mode and blame yourself, or go in the bathroom and look in a mirror and blame yourself, because you have to be doing these activities. It doesn't matter who you are. If people don't know who you are, you don't have any business. And, Kristi has a great mentor at her company who knows programs left and right. They can probably get any deal done that is possible to get done. But if you don't go do the networking, you don't have the business to show for it. And when the market turns, and it will, there's just going to be this switch that flips. It probably happens when rates drift back down into the low 5s, which may seem like a far time off, but in the next 12 months, they're there, y'all, and we'll be at that point again. Now, there'll be a lot more buyers in the market, but there will be a lot more sellers in the market too. We'll have to work really hard. Kristi was talking about your volunteer experience. It's just like loan officers right now. We're volunteers. We work for free a lot right now.
So true.
But when that market turns, women and men who have done what Kristi you're doing, who are doing what Shane and I are doing every day and getting out in front of our agents, educating, teaching, and making friends, like it's going to rain loans again for us. And Kristi, you're doing it to a level that I don't know anybody in the market who's actually doing it right now.
So there are 2 things I want to share a thing, and then I want to ask Kristi a kind of a closing question. Number one, I'm a sports guy and I do a lot of sports analogies, but right now it's like, so for the last, 4 years, we were getting in shape, maintaining our weight at the nicest gym on the planet. We had all the equipment we wanted. You walk in, free smoothies, you had personal trainers. And then all of a sudden, one day we walked up and the door was locked. The place was empty. And for the last 12 to 18 months, we've been working in a warehouse with no equipment, a few tires, and a rock. If you can maintain your level of physical fitness in a warehouse with no weights, imagine when that gym reopens, right? And I say all that to say that the disciplines that you create in bad markets are going to help the good market be a great market, right? And so networking is something that is translatable in any market, right? And so Kristi, I commend you for your discipline, because when the market turns, your networking is only going to get better, easier, more impactful, more beneficial when the rates are in the fives, when the market has, stabilized a bit. So my last question for you is, when you go to these networking events and I'm going to call you the networking queen. You're not the home alone mom. You're the networking queen. What is like your go-to thing that you do to create conversation and connection? Like, do you have something you say? Do you have a mentality? Do you have like a script? Like, what do you do going into all of these events?
So I'm not a script person, but what I do is I am not shy, and I will insert myself into conversations. I will speak up if if it's a presentation and there are questions. I have no problem. You guys have seen me do that at next level events. I have no problem doing that. And I always introduce myself as Kristi Norton, the home loan mom. And that often will spark a conversation, and people want to know like what that is. Or what's even better is when I introduce myself to somebody as the home loan mom and they know the brand. They've heard it. They've seen, oh yeah, I've seen your Instagrams. Oh yeah, tell me about your pug. I saw that you adopted her. And then, because my social media is very, very hybrid. I mean, it is very personal and mortgage stuff kind of, feathered in. So people really get to know me. So that's really what I'm all about, is people getting to know me, like me, understand my brand. Because if people remember the home loan mom, they don't have to remember my face and they don't have to remember my name, because the home loan mom is where you can find me online, on social, whatever. And so that's what I do. And then on my social, I always wear big earrings. So that's kind of like, yours is your hat, Shane. Mine is big earrings. So I try to catch attention that way so people can remember me.
Kristi, and I heard you say about inserting yourself into conversations, and some people that are listening right now, they're like, oh, it's just not me, or I can't do that. Or what if they don't like me? And like, the bottom line is if you don't do these things, then you're never going to get business and nobody's going to know anyway. The worst thing that happens is you stumble, and then the next time you insert yourself into a conversation, you're better prepared and you have a chance to make friends, get business, and further yourself in your career. Friends, family, next level loan officers, if you need to further your career, if you need to just do something a little different, go to becomemnl.com, check us out. Network with people like Kristi, like Shane, like myself. Become a part of our community, and let us help you take your business to the next level. Shane, my man, it's always good to see you. Kristi, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody listening. Peace out, friends.
See you guys.
Thank you.